This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. WFO Radio at an unknown time, an unknown day. That's right. We're going to recap the Texas Fall Nationals from the Texas Motorplex. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Hopefully everybody made it back. Travel was chaotic. Big storm coming through Texas, DFW. A lot of flights canceled, but I made it back to the WFO studios. It took an extra day, but hey, we made it. And to those of you watching later on in this week, we're going to have Alan Reinhart. He's just seconds away, but we're doing the show on Monday, but you might see it a few more times as I can program it. So I'm going to do that. Reinhart just seconds away. I do want to tell you about the people who make it possible before we recap this race. What a race. Wow. Greg Anderson gets it done. 98 wins, GA. Going to be great. Really excited about talking about that and all of these things. But first, like Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com, Matt Hartford and the team over there. They had another one of their Trackside Tech Talks, which went very, very well. But something, if you're into that, like if you're into that kind of thing, this week, like I'm heading out again tomorrow. I'm doing laundry right now as we speak. I'm folding laundry. You just can't see me. EnginePerformanceExpo.com. Starts Wednesday. It's Wednesday and Thursday. It is like an online engine technical seminar. And I'll be there. I'll be the host. Lake Speed Jr. going to be there co-hosting with me. We're going to have Warren Johnson. We're going to have John Kazi. We're going to have Roy Johnson. It's going to be great. It is going to, George Bryce is going to be part of it. We're going to learn a lot of different stuff. So if you're an engine guy, if you're a machinist, if you're an engine shop, it will all live on the web forever as long as the power stays on. But watch live, participate, enjoy, even from your job, engineperformanceexpo.com. And it's great. Folks at Rottler and Total Seal and many others putting it on. Also, samtech.edu. Brian Massengill was out there. Good to see Brian. Start your education at full speed. Blockhead, CNC programs, motorsport, EFI tuning. If you're going to become a machinist, there's no better way to start than at samtech.edu. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School got a couple of shout outs on the broadcast from Travis Shoemake, and he got a super comp license and alcohol funny car license. And, maybe today, and I don't have that information just yet, yesterday, if you're watching tomorrow, and 2 days ago, if you're watching on Wednesday, you get the gist. He was going for his funny car license, as in Big Show stuff with Del Worsham, and it all started at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. But you don't need to do that. You can just do the Dragster Adventure and have a little fun that you'll remember the rest of your life. FrankHawley.com. And then there's my friend Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. He was all over that place. 817-924-6821. The Motorplex. He was hanging with Hagen, and he was hanging with me, and he was all over the place. And Nitro Joe Morrison put him to work, putting up the awning. Marvin comes to a race to hang out and have fun and ends up working, and that's what he loves the best. He roasts great coffee. Super excited to dig into the box that I got. 817-924-6821. That's Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. All right, let's bring him on. He's the voice of the NHRA. I see we got some people out there as well. Alan Reinhart, who just got back. How about us, Alan? Like, drop the bags, go to WFO, talk NHRA. Super excited.
Oh, no, I've been home for hours. I didn't get stuck overnight. I didn't get stranded. I didn't miss a flight. There must have been some kind of divine intervention, because you know me, I'm always the first guy, first flight in the morning, get me the heck out of here and get me where I'm going.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, this time when I was booking my round trip, I booked the mid-morning flight. They have one that leaves at 10:30 from DFW. And instead of booking the, whatever it is, 7:45 or 8 o'clock flight or something, for whatever reason, I couldn't even tell you why. I just booked the 10:30 flight. Turns out that the early morning flight this morning was canceled.
Wow.
So ours was jam-packed because they took as many people as they could for the early one and, piled them into our flight. But, I had my, seat right behind the pilot. So I don't, however many people they piled back there didn't bother me a bit.
Steerage back there and steerage where I was this week. I was in steerage. And, travel hacks. Reinhardt's really good with the travel hacks. And this one, I really didn't know how to handle it. I handled it as, and we'll get to the racing, folks. Like, for instance, Monday Morning Racer still at the Motorplex. He says the teams are servicing for Bristol, and there's some testing going on, making some hits. That's where Travis is. So if they're making hits, I'm sure Travis Shoemake is trying to get his license and all of that stuff. We'll talk about the race. But so those big storms were coming through last night. Anybody who watched Sunday Night Football knows that the game was actually postponed for a little while. It was the same storm And it was amazing to see because it came through at like a high rate of speed. But anyway, my 8:30 flight was canceled and they rebooked me on a 6:30 flight. And I noticed, thank goodness for Jamie Howe. Well, actually, now after the fact, that darn Jamie Howe for telling me and sending me on this quest to get to the airport, which ultimately failed. Had I just missed the flight, then I would have had a different journey. But whatever. I realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm on an early flight. And if I leave right now, I have got a shot to make it. And that's what I did. So Ron Capps is going down the track, winning the race. And I am blazing out of the Motorplex at the same rate of speed. Of course, up to the speed limit. And then I rode the speed limit the whole time because that is the right thing to do. But anyway, an adventure. I pushed some guy's truck out of the way. He was broken in front of our rental car bus. Just a whole host. It was like a journey. It was a trek. It was a journey. It was the, I don't know, Homer's, the Iliad. I don't know. But
in the end, you failed.
I failed. Exactly. Didn't make it. Spent the night in a Roach Motel and made it home today to Miami. And then I drove to Fort Lauderdale and I picked up my car and I just got here. Woo! WFO. So what should I have done, Reinhart? That's the answer, the question.
At that point, there's not really a lot you can do. You run into some of those travel stupidities from time to time. I was kind of surprised when I got out of the track that, how quickly I got back to the airport. And I was staying at the airport as kind of a typical deal in Dallas, just because, it's about an hour drive from the track to the airport. And for me, I'd rather drive Sunday night, have a nice meal, other than having to get up at 3:00 in the morning. If I go to the airport, then I can stay in a hotel there and just get up, an hour and a half before the flight leaves and not have a problem. So I didn't have any problems. My travel was smooth and nice. Well, and
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good for you, Alan. Good for you, Alan. All right.
Hey, we've all had our nightmares.
Yes.
My all-time favorite travel story that I didn't want to tell, and this one, Joe, about when we got rained out in Richmond a number of years ago. And I was just going to hang out and twiddle my thumbs for the week because it was going to cost me $1 million to go home, and there was no reason to do that. And And Alan Johnson, bumped into him at whatever the restaurant was, and Sunday night or Saturday night, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hanging out for the week." And he said, "Do you want to go to Santa Maria?" And I said, "You got room?" He said, "I'm the only one on the jet." I said, "Sure. I mean, that's got to be better than here, right? Even if I'm out there sweeping a shop or doing something, at least it's better than sitting in a hotel." And so the deal was the race was going to run Friday and Saturday the next weekend. So he says, "Yeah, we'll fly back Thursday evening." And great. So I get on a plane, I go home with him. Then he ends up with some meetings and some stuff going Thursday that runs a little late, and calls, and he said, "Okay, look," he said, "Top Fuel doesn't run until 2:00. So instead of, flying out tonight," he goes, "We're just going to meet at the hangar in the morning about 5:00 and we'll fly out there." He said, "We'll land about noon or so. It shouldn't be a problem." And I'm like, "It shouldn't be a problem for you. I'm supposed to be at work at 9 a.m. And it's not like, so I believe it was Leo and Bob Fry were the other two guys that were there. And so I called them and I said, "Hey, look, got a problem. Cover me. I'll be there as quick as I can get there, and I'll explain it all when I get there." So I come rolling in, whatever it was, 12:45 or close to 1:00 in the afternoon, and get the typical, "Oh, well, good afternoon, Alan. Glad you could make it. Oh, I see you decided to grace us with your the whole typical routine."
Yes. That still is in play today, by the way, for
absolutely.
Anybody who's there late. Yes, absolutely.
And I said, "Look, gang, my flight that originally was supposed to leave yesterday afternoon didn't leave until 5:00 this morning. Now, do you want to hear what my night was like?" And they all went, "Oh, no," because everybody's had their travel nightmares. And, what my life was like was I went, back to Terry Morrow's house and got a good night's sleep, and then got out on a private jet flew. But nobody asked me that. I would have been more than happy to fill them in on all the details. But as soon as I said, my flight was supposed to leave Thursday, it didn't leave until 5:00 this morning. Do you want to hear that story? And they all went, "Nope." Okay.
See, I would have pressed you. Those guys,
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know. I think I might have. But hey, we made it back, and we're going to Bristol just days from now. And I'm heading up there actually tomorrow for that Engine Performance Expo. Warren Johnson, Roy Johnson, John Cos. It's going to be really neat online, and it's all archived. But I'm excited to talk to Warren right after the big Greg Anderson 98th win. Like, Greg is now the guy. And Warren has told me in the past, like, he feels he said he feels pride about it because he's part of it, and that one of his proteges has gone on and has now exceeded him and will continue and might get 100. I'm going to ask him about that, of course, but to me, that was a big deal. Great race all around, a lot of championship implications, but now that milestone is off Greg Anderson's back.
Yeah, and I don't think there was nearly as much pressure to get this one as there was to get the last one.
I agree.
Because if you looked at his driving through the middle of the year, it almost looked like he was feeling some pressure. Everybody every week it was like, is this going to be the week? Is this going to be the week? Is this going to? And I really think that some of that maybe affected him. But once he got that monkey off his back or whatever you want to call it, he seems to have been driving better. He seems more relaxed. And, this one, there wasn't the, is this the week? Is this the week? And matter of fact, I never mentioned it on the PA until the final round. And, I'm kind of a big believer in a situation like that. I don't want to steal my own thunder. When Greg won the race, what I said was, Texas Motorplex, you just witnessed even more history because here's what happened. And if I'm telling them all day long, might happen, then when it happens, it's not like, wow, that was great. It's like, yeah, okay, well, you've been talking about it all day. So, but anyway, congratulations, Greg. He was doing a great job driving the car, as he has had most of the year, had the best car, showed it off in qualifying, and, didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. I think the worst light he had in eliminations all day long was in the final round, and McGahey had gone red, so it was all academic at that point, just taking a victory lap. But yeah, I think he's absolutely going to get to 100. Will he do it before the end of this year? 3 races left for Pro Stock. I don't know, or 2 races left for Pro Stock, right? Yeah, 2 races. So maybe not, but it's definitely going to happen. And congratulations. We're just going to see where he leaves the bar. And then we'll see who's going to be the next person, because in the top 10 right now, he's the only one active.
Wow, that's amazing. And so everybody's starting fresh, and Pro Stock's very different thing than it is now. With you got a lot of different cars that can win races, but you never know. Like, you just don't know the way someone will emerge. And
actually, I take that back. Erica is in the top 10, and she is an active driver. But the other 8. Erica is the only other one that's active, and she's, I believe, 32. So, a third of the way there. She's, depending on how long she wants to do it. If she does it until she's as old as Greg, then she's certainly got a chance of being the all-time leader by the time she quits.
Well, exactly. How long do you want to do it? And, how long does this all go on? Those things factor into play. But, Greg also caught some breaks. Like, I think everybody else, I think he wore him down a little bit, right? Like, everyone was getting up to run Greg Anderson to stop him from being the guy. They didn't want to be the one. And he had a lot of really good runs against him to stop him. And here at this race, Hartford shakes the tires. He gets down. Marty Robinson was red. Troy Coughlin rattled the tires, and McGahey was red. And so coming back to the mean a little bit, like, everybody was really up on their game to run Greg. And at this race, they slipped over the edge, and they pushed too hard, and he got a red light in the final. Great job by Chris McGahey, by the way, just getting to the final, beating up the kid, not having to drive home, all good stuff.
Yeah, finally beating up the kid. That was, the kid had been kicking his tail the last 3 times they'd raced. But no, and people are always going to make what they're going to make of it. I got a text from somebody yesterday that said, Matt Hartford laid down for him, and I'm going, really? Okay, well, if you believe that, then what was Matt Hartford doing first round? Because he shook the tires there too. Was he trying to lay down first round and just messed it up so bad that he won the race? And then Troy Coughlin Jr. shook the tires. So was Troy laying down for him too? Oh, no. Well, he was trying so hard to beat him. And I'm going, okay. So one guy shakes the tires and he's doing it on purpose. The next guy shakes the tires and he's doing it because he's trying really hard. I mean, come on. You can't have it both ways. And, I think I give a tip of the cap to Elite. They certainly were racing heads up because I guarantee you've got long odds when Aaron Stanfield's in one lane and Erica's in the other about what's going to happen here. Yeah. And Aaron goes up and throws a 006 light and ends up taking the win in that round. So, let him race for it. There's 2 races left. Let him race for it. And let's see what happens. And
on that note, I've even thought about it. Like, if Aaron beats Erica, this could be where it turns. This could be it. And Aaron beat Erica because Aaron Stanfield, the Janics are paying a lot of money over there. And Erin is a great young racer, and he just took her down. He got her, and Greg goes on and wins. Now, it's not over by any means, but Greg Anderson has a decent lead, 2 races to go. We'll see how it all works out. But just a great and fun day of pro stock racing, like a lot of interesting storylines, fun races, and ultimately Greg Anderson becomes the winningest pro stock driver in the history of the category. That is amazing stuff. Just amazing. Now, the final round that I didn't see because I was like out the door, Justin Ashley over Steve Torrance. I did watch on television though.
Yeah, he didn't miss anything. It was,
unbelievable.
2 cars go down the track, one of them wins. So what?
35 lights, both drivers. And you know what I loved about it was how excited Justin got. Something that I didn't really know until recently was that Justin was a varsity athlete and a collegiate athlete. And, he's like my size, and I am not athletic like that. And so but I know what it takes to be on a college team playing football when you're a guy like me. Like, what does that mean? That's, Rudy Rudiger's stuff. He was the captain of the team. So there's an intense competitor inside the smooth exterior. And I like to see that come out after the win. He was really fired up and he got the job done. And now Mike Green is there and they're there long term. And all of a sudden that new fresh team is emerging. Brittany, the story of the day, she's 81, Justin 61. She slowed down a little. Just tough deal. Unable to win from the number 1 spot.
Yeah. And, Billy Torrance went down at Josh's hand too on a hole shot. So, the kid's driving great. Everybody knows. Everybody's giving him credit for what he's doing on the starting line. And, in the final round, I don't know, did you happen to look at the H-mile numbers in the final round?
No, I did not get to see them.
Identical to the thou.
No.
So they had identical lights to the thou at the 8th mile mark. If that had been the finish line, the margin of victory would have been less than 1,000th of a second. And, at the quarter mile mark, Justin was running 4 or 5 miles an hour faster, and that basically made the difference. And he won. Outrunning the Capco boys is not something that's easy to do these days, especially on Sunday. And they did it. So congratulations to them. And it had to sting even more for Steve because it's Texas, right? He won it last year. He's got they have a Capco suite in the tower that has family, customers, business associates, all that kind of stuff out there to see him win. And to get to the final and then get taken down by a kid from New York.
Yeah.
It's like the old the old salsa ad, right? This stuff's made in New York City.
New York City.
But Justin's got a solid team over there. He has been very strong, and I don't know how you fly under the radar and end up being 3rd in points, but that's what they've been doing over there because all the focus has been Steve and Brittany. But Mike's got that car running very good right now. They're winning the rounds that they should win, and they're winning a few rounds that people don't give them credit for. And that's what you have to do to be a championship contending team. It's easy to have the fastest car and go out and win all the races. Well, it's not easy, but when you win the races you're supposed to win, when you don't mess up and give one away to a lower qualified car or one of the lower budget cars that isn't capable of running the 370s is 3. And I'm trying not to make anybody sound, I know everybody's doing the best they can, but you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
If you and I have a top fuel car out there, we qualify 15th, and Steve Torrance smokes the tires and lets us win. He screwed that up. We didn't beat him. So they're winning all the races that they're supposed to win, and they're winning a lot of races that people don't think they're supposed to win. And that's what's got them in the position they're in right now. And obviously, the kid's driving lights out, no doubt about it.
Yes. And for those that are wondering about the winter views this week, I think Alan and I might be the only WFO show this week just because I'm headed to Bristol. I got that Engine Performance Expo I'm going to be hosting. I might try to get together with some of these racers, but I don't want to shortchange the Justin Ashley interview or the Greg Anderson interview. And so we can do them at another time. And who knows, maybe he'll go back to back, right? Like that happens too. Point standings, I just want to mention GA leads Erica by 81, Dallas Glenn by 183. So with 2 races to go, that is your championship race. Someone will win their 5th. It's looking like it is more likely to be Greg Anderson, but not with Erica Enders. There's no quit in that team. And I think that it's going to be very exciting, Vegas and Pomona, especially the way she runs at Vegas. She dominates in Vegas. And as far as in top fuel, this is not over. 52 up, Steve over Brittany, 121 over Justin, 168 over Mike. With 3 races left to go, Mike Salinas is got a really good car. Like, he's better, and they have got something figured out over there. And that's the kind of guy that if he gets next to the right person at the right time, first or second round, because of reasons unknown, he could shake up the championship situation. So I'm not willing to give it to Steve just yet. And Brittany, I don't know if you got to see her interview on Fox Sports 1 after she lost, but she owned it so well. And seeing her go through this has been a great experience. Like, that's how future champions are forged. I know she won in 2017, but like, she was 81. That's not awful. She just got
It's not good enough these days, though. And I mean, it's not good enough these days.
Right. But the car slowed up too. Like, that's the thing. It was the combination of a couple of things. Her lights on the day were just looking at Britt's lights, a 90, a 74, and 81. So, yeah, if she had her 74, she wins. It's just a tough deal. The car went 70, 71, 72, 7. Just tough. It's tough out there. You know, maybe there's no championship for them this year, but if she's a top 2 player, that's still saying something. We'll see what happens. Funny car. Any final thoughts on Top Fuel? I know a lot of people mentioning the qualifying show and the fire with Joe Morrison. Just, it was a late night, Friday night. Let's put it that way. It was a very late night. But the 4 qualifying sessions were good.
It was definitely trying. It was nice to have 4 qualifying sessions, though. It was definitely a little bit warm at the Texas Motorplex, but the concrete racetrack holds up very well when it's warm outside. So, we just had a great race. Lane choice wasn't an issue all weekend long. You certainly could win out of either one. We saw, in the final round, it's like, you think Steve's going to go, well, I would have won if I had the good lane. Come on, man. And that was just the kind of racing it was. So, no, I think, I think Justin absolutely deserved to win that race. Like I said, he's winning all the races he's supposed to win and winning a number of the races where he's maybe not the favorite pulling up to the starting line.
Yes, exactly. And people are asking me about the JR Todd thing. Like, everyone wants to know about that. That's stuff I talk about on the Ignition podcast, by the way. But I will say that, I want to be perfect all the time. That's the goal, to be perfect at all times. And as much as I try, I have yet to achieve the perfection that I crave. And so I said something maybe a little inartfully. And before I could talk my way out of it, which was my full intention, JR, he didn't like the way I said it. And he told me the way he didn't like it. And so if you watch the Michael Jordan documentary, these high-level athletes, they are fighting for anything that will give them a little extra motivation. And so he used what I said to motivate him. And at the end of the race, he said that I said that they would lose. Now, technically, that is not true. I never said that, but I said that, well, we know Wilkerson's going to win because, and I had a whole thing. And then I was going to go, well, we know JR is going to win because, and I had a whole thing, but it got cut off right at the first word. And he took that moment and he used it. And that was the run of the round. That was probably the run of the day, right? Like, Wilk and JR, was that like the best run of the race? Probably.
Final was pretty good.
Final was pretty okay. It's the second best run of the day. You're absolutely correct now. But he didn't like it. He mentioned me. JR Todd mentioned my name in his winter interview after a race at the Texas Motorplex because I said something. Like, that's not bad for me. But if he took it the wrong way, I understand that. I said it in an artful way, and that's it. Here we are. I'm doing my thing. He'll do his thing. We'll move on. But
part of the thing about being a live commentator is the fact that when you say something, you've said it. And, sometimes you can go around and get it back. Sometimes you've just said it. I've a few times, not so much now, but in years past, there have been times when a internet or a print person or somebody would come up to me and go, hey, you want to tell me about that comment? And I said, yeah. I said, I mixed up some words, or I was misconstrued, or what I screwed up. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what you said made it come off. And I said, tell you what, why don't you sit down and write this story without ever using the backspace key, and then just print whatever's up there, spelling errors to everything. Never use the backspace key. Well, that would be stupid. I don't have that luxury. if I say something, whether it comes out wrong, whether it's misinterpreted, that's what it is. And, it's all part of it. I just think, JR's an intense competitor. And there's a reason that he's a funny car champion. There's a reason that he's in the position he's in. He's an intense competitor. And, I certainly have heard from him a few times over the years. It's like, hey, man, you said this, and that's fine. If he's listening, he's paying attention. And if he wants to call me out, bring it. If I make a mistake, that's fine. But it's all part of what we're doing. And I think, if you had the list and, the Tim thing, I think was Tim had been winning every other race.
Right.
He'd win the race and lose first round, then win the race and lose first round. Well, last race he lost first round, so he should win this race. And if somebody's going to take that as, you're dissing me and my team, it's like, come on, man. But, JR's an intense guy. He's an intense competitor. And
that's it.
If he used it for motivation, he used it for motivation. And in the second round, for anybody that wants to beat him up for what he did exactly what Robert Hight did last week. Exactly what Robert Hight did. And exactly what pretty much everybody out there has done at some point. You're keyed up. You're ready. And your foot sometimes moves before your brain sees the light come on. And, that's part of it. But like, he doesn't have, he can't go, okay, rewind the tape 5 seconds. Let's do that again. It happened. And, Robert came back this week and he was obviously very motivated and very intense to go out there and do a job and not make mistakes. And he was driving very well. And there's no doubt in my mind that JR will do the same thing next week.
Yes, no doubt. And, I can't help but think of the similarity of the situation, right? Like I'm sure he wanted to be perfect in that run too. And it didn't go perfectly. And, that's it. We all live with the consequences of our situations in our work environment. Like this is the business we've chosen. And that's it. I do my best. And I would love to, have a conversation with JR and, buy him a beer and hang out. By the way, like throughout history, we've been interviewing JR Todd now for 15 years, right? Like when he broke the big Tony Schumacher streak of wins and all that, JR was on my XM show. I do not think I have any kind of issue with JR. Sean Langdon on the other. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's move over to let's talk about the final because Caps and Guido and like they saved the day for themselves. And yeah. Caps said it on the show, like he's watching what happened with JR, and Caps said that everybody's getting next to Hagan and messing up, and Caps got next to Hagan and he was able to deliver, and that kept it a race. I said it last week and we talked about it. Had Hagan won this deal, it wouldn't have been a lock, but man, it would have been looking really good for him. And instead it's a 33-point lead, Hagan over Caps, 113 over Cruz. Cruz is actually still in the mix, as is John Force, but I'm feeling a Hagan Caps battle to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol obviously will tell a lot, but that was a 40-point swing in the final round. Simple as that. If Ron loses and Matt wins, then that's a 40-point swing. And it's just, you're running out of rounds. There's 12 rounds left in the nitro categories to decide the championship. So if somebody's got 4 in front of you, that's difficult, and Bristol obviously would be a very telling thing, but Matt's got himself a really good race car right now. Ron obviously has a really good race car right now. Cruz has a really good race car right now. I think that the determining factor, or one of the determining factors, will be somebody making a mistake early. Whether it's Caps, whether it's Hagan, whether it's Cruz, when they got to race the Joe and Allen team in the first round. Yeah. And they're so concerned about lane choice or so concerned about something later in the day that they make a mistake and give that one away. I think that's probably going to take somebody out of the mix.
I agree. That's it. It's like who makes the mistake or who doesn't make the mistake, or maybe we'll just have a race like this where everybody does everything right and somebody is just better. Hey, do you recall what the 60-foot times were in the final? As in, did Caps poke it in there in the final round?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Hagan did a little bit as well. And, Ron in the winner's circle made no bones about it. He said, we always go up there and go shout him. He said, you know what? There's no lane choice in the winner's circle. So Let's go. And most of the time, those numbers are deceiving. If the cars are 4 inches apart at the starting line, okay, you could have won it if you rolled deep. But the reality of it is, you look at like the John Force and Alexis DeJoria thing. John chunked it in a little bit. It shows on the scoreboard that it's a hole shot, but the reality of it is his car ran better. And it's tough to explain sometimes to casual fans, guys that get it. And I love the fact that like Cruz makes no bones about it.
Right.
And he's like, look, everybody that wants to do it can do it. I'm doing it. If you don't do it, don't yell at me. You could do exactly the same thing.
Right.
And there's a lot of drivers out there that like, well, their crew chief or their car owner. And Cruz actually told me one time, face to face, we were chit-chatting about basically this exact same thing. And he says, I have guys come over to me and go, hey, my crew chief and my guy, they won't let me do that. And you're making me look bad. He said, get your own team. I own this thing. I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah. And good on him. And it's legal for anybody. So if I'm doing it and you're not, maybe that's bad on you, not bad on me.
Well, if it makes the difference for a thousandth of a second of going or not going to the next round, and we've been having this conversation for a while. It's just been it's the gamesmanship of these savvy older guys.
But the only thing you can cheat on the starting line is about 4 or 5 inches. Okay.
Yes.
If that determines the race, then you could have won it on the starting line. However, when you've got an 89 in one side and a 91 in the other, and the distance at the finish line is half a car length, the starting line didn't determine the race.
Right.
It just changed the numbers on the scoreboard, but the quickest car still won the race.
And on that note, just to keep it going, messing up the other driver, like a lot of people like, oh, well, that's intended to mess up the other driver. That's only if you put the top bulb out, but that's also part of it, right? Like, in what other sport is one side not trying to mess up the other side? Like, I don't know, man. Golf, you don't yell at, Noonan. You don't do that. But
I do think some of it is, if you and I are racing and you always, you're John Force, okay? You always chunk her in there a little bit. You always do that. And if I'm sitting there on the start line going, Joe's going to try to make me look bad. I know he's going to go deep. I know he's going to, oh shit, the light's on.
Yeah.
I mean, then you have got inside my head and you are messing me up. And That's all part of it.
We got a big audience from down under today. We got Mark is down there. Matt is down there. Everybody in Australia is listening because we're on later in the day. And so the Australian WFO contingent is able to watch. Bottom line, great day of racing. A lot of good stuff. We had some tough early weekend stuff with oil, etc. But Sunday race day was actually pretty smooth. And our championship battles are really good. And then in Pro Stock Motorcycle, got to mention the bikes because the heartbreak of Steve Johnson, the bike wouldn't start, Alan. The bike wouldn't start. I wanted to see the race because I think that that would have just been a great race. Great that Hector Arana Jr., Adam Arana was back out there. They had the whole family together. He got to the final round, went red to Matt Smith. Brian said it on the broadcast. I'm sure you said it too. Like, that's what champions do, right? Like, you open the door, they push it in. And that's what Matt Smith has done with this round win. And now a couple of races to go. Going to be very interesting to see how it works out. Steve Johnson, he's got a fast bike. He's got a shot, but he's got to do it.
Well, I think what you saw with Steve Johnson is the difference that Jock not being there made. And I don't know exactly what it is. He told you on the starting line, well, we're in a hustle for TV turnaround and stuff, which is like, not really. I mean, it wasn't like we were on a live day when they were bringing him back in 45 minutes.
Right.
But I think that whatever it was, had Jock been there, probably would have been something that got taken care of because, for how much of the year is it Steve and Jock? And, Larry Dixon was actually there hanging out with Steve. I don't know how much hands-on he was, but, those two guys are buddies from 30 years ago. And, and Steve, something apparently got overlooked or something didn't get plugged in or something happened that caused the bike not to start that I firmly believe had Jock been there would not have gotten overlooked. And so, maybe that changes the dynamic of the race, but there's a couple more races left in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Steve is not out of it by any means. And I guarantee you, Matt is not comfortable by any means. He made some ground, but he also knows it's not time to, lay back and put your feet up.
Yeah. He's up by 8 over Steve. Angel still totally in the picture, 53 back. And what is it? They are going to Bristol, correct? The bike's going to Bristol. Yes.
Yeah, Steve could make up those 8 points in qualifying. He could certainly make up half of it in qualifying.
Yes. Matt Smith, though, has he was telling me, I think he's got some experience at the, well, look, Matt and Angie are on there. Did you see Matt drink beer out of his shoe? I did not. And that's a Daniel Ricciardo thing. And I'm against it. I'm grossed out by it. Is that bikes are in Bristol. So that must be Angie out there, who had a good day, by the way. Angie Smith got down to the semis where she lost to Matt ultimately, but a good day in the bikes throughout. And, Larry Dixon told me, this is where I was going before I got the shoe thing, and it put me on my back foot like gross. Sorry, Matt, gross. But I talked to Larry. I went over and had a conversation with him, and he's like, hey, man, he goes, I'm here to help, but there's 3 of us here, and we know that the 3 of us combined don't add up to Jock. And so we're doing what we can, and he knew it. He was almost a premonition. Like, we're going to try, but Jock is a hard worker, a smart worker, a quick worker, and it's his thing. And it is like, if we're going to go work on that Mustang back there, I could turn the wrenches, but this wrench before that wrench at this time, this has got to come off first.
Not on that car.
Yeah. Well,
I'll find another Mustang you can work on, but you ain't working on that one.
Exactly. What if you had just been in a horrible accident? You needed it done, though.
Nah.
I'm very particular, Alan. I think you would appreciate my work ethic. Remember, my dad was
if I'm ever in a horrible accident, you want to come camp out across the street at my shop, because there's 4 people that all think they are going to be the ones that get that car when something bad happens to me.
Yeah.
And so it might be pretty interesting to see either A, who gets here first, or B, what kind of gun battle they have when they get here to see if who actually does get the car.
Okay, I just had a bunch of really dark humor thoughts, but I'm just going to let them lie.
The funny thing is that two of the 4 people that think they're going to get it couldn't drive it anyway. So,
right. Alan says no go on touching his car. Exactly. Oh, they can't drive it because they can't drive a clutch.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. Plus, it's a pretty obnoxious car to drive. I think, if you ever want to take the world back from the millennials, all we got to do, we don't need code.
Nope.
We don't need encrypted radios. We don't need it. All we need to do is start writing in cursive and make all of our cars 4-speeds, and game over.
They're going to be locked up. That's it. Oh my God. What do we do? Clutch car. What does that pedal do? How do I make it work? I agree.
Start writing in cursive and make every car a manual transmission, and we win.
This guy wants to know what year the Mercedes is, year and model. He wants to know.
It's an SL550 AMG, and it's a 14, I believe. I just bought it.
Yeah, there it is. Look at this guy with his stuff. All right. So the point standings, like I said, Matt over Steve by 8, by 53 over Angel, who is still absolutely in the mix. Other race winners from the weekend. There was a lot going on out there. Jackie Frick keeps her championship hopes alive. It was a long shot going in. Like she told me, we have to win out, and that's going to be really tough. But she won Texas, and the dream is still alive.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yes.
Alcohol dragster was fun to watch, even though there were only 2 alcohol dragsters on the property. And because God has a sense of humor, they raced each other round 1.
Yes.
But the injected nitro cars down there were putting on a heck of a show. From Cooper, running the 2 fastest speeds in the history of the sport. And Jackie had a great car. Rachel had a great car. It was really a matter of making the right run at the right time. Because if you sit and look at anybody's day, it's like, okay, well, the run that I made that beat you, if I'd have made that run last round, I would have lost. And somehow got away with this one. But if I make that same run next round, I would have lost. And you just had to make the right run at the right time. And Jackie did. She had a good race car. But they definitely were making the right run at the right time. And, hey, who knows?
Who knows, right? Something interesting to talk about, think about. And she was super excited to meet Billy Meyer down there. And Doug Gordon, similar situation. He's in a big championship fight with Sean Bellemere. He's trying to go back-to-back. He got it done, and just a great and fun race.
Sean Bellemere must have been home getting an ulcer every round, just going, because, Sean Bellemere loves the Texas Motorplex. That's where he won his first race.
Yes.
He's won there more than just the one, but the fact that they destroyed the car and could not even be there to compete. And, he and Doug Gordon are very good friends, and, have tons of respect for each other. When Doug redid his, when Sean redid his house, Doug did all the cabinets, all the stuff, because that's their family business. But to watch somebody else, I guarantee he's going, Yeah. Come on, Brian. Come on, Chris Houle. Come on, anybody that pulls up next to him. It's like, help me out here. And nobody could.
And the picture of Bellemure's car blowing up, the one that I saw, was like,
it's pretty
wicked, hellacious, and also what a catch for the photo people out there. And, congratulations to Richard Shute, by the way, being a legend at the Texas Motorplex. And, of course, Don Prudhomme. That was a part of the fun. Don Thomas, comp eliminator. Jimmy Hidalgo Jr., Superstock. B. Grubb, Brenda Grubbs, racing for her friend who was recently deceased, wins stock eliminator. Steve Evans in Super Comp. Austin Williams in Super Gas, who joined us for a little social media bit at the start of the weekend, goes on and wins the race. Scooter Wilkins in Super Street. Jimmy Lewis in Top Sportsman. Ross Larice, a.k.a. Baby Larice in Top Dragster. Lyle Barnett. How about Lyle? That is a big and popular win in Pro Mod, and Chris Smith in Top Fuel Harley.
Well, Lyle Barnett won with a turbo car.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people around here that'll tell you there is no way, no how, no chance you can be even remotely competitive in a turbo car. I guess I forgot to tell the elite guys. Because Lyle, even though, he qualified, I believe, 12th, he wasn't exactly, the head of the field. But, when you're talking about a team where J.R. Gray qualified 16th, it's a pretty brutal field to start with. And, had a good day. So congratulations to him after, the literally life-threatening crash, which has been now 4 or 5 years ago, to be able to come back and win his first NHRA race. And he was pretty excited about it. He and Ron Capps both said exactly the same thing in the winner's circle with me. They both said, there ain't enough beer in Texas for the party we're going to have tonight. And I told them both, oh, yes, there is.
Yeah, there is beer. But that's another winter view that I can't wait to have, because Lyle is someone that I've been, interested in since I saw him, after he got burned. He went on social media and did something that was so great. Like, hey, all you guys out there to think it could never happen to you, you got to wear your equipment. And I had such great respect for that. And, we've been wanting to have him on. It just hasn't worked out, right? Because they hadn't been running all the races. And frankly, we're busy with, winter views, et cetera. But now it's going to be great. Whenever it happens, they got it done. And congratulations to the elite guys. They won a lot of stuff this weekend, Alan.
Yeah, they definitely had a decent week. They would have really liked to get the Pro Stock trophy, but they were also very heavily involved with cash bonuses for a lot of races, a lot of different classes, and being part of the Stampede of Speed. So good on them for for putting the checkbook where their mouth is.
Yes, and that was great. And then the Jeff Jones spin. How on earth does that? I jumped in the air. Normally I'm pretty cool, but I literally jumped off my feet because
so did the car.
How does that happen?
The shot where the car is sideways, turned around backwards, all four wheels off the ground, and it's just hovering down there is spectacular. Somebody should make a poster of that, and nobody would ever believe it was real.
Yeah, just amazing. And there was a debate. They posted it on NHRA's YouTube, because I called it a save. And I feel like if you're about to crash and then you don't crash, he was driving in there, but he also got very lucky too, right? Like every save is part skill and part luck, I'm sure. But the people who are on there, he didn't save it. That's luck, pure luck, whatever. It's like, go get in a race car and then tell me.
The bottom line is he could have gone home with his helmet, and he went home with a complete race car. And so, hey, buy some new tires and let's go racing again, because I don't believe if it was my car, I'd want to leave those four on there and go try it again.
Exactly.
But it was a spectacular moment. No question.
No question. All right. Final thoughts before we head to Bristol, Alan, here on a Monday.
I just have one for all of the diehard old school. We need to go back to quarter mile. Whatever we got to do to go back to quarter mile, let's go back to quarter mile. I just want you to think about this. Aaron Cooper went 286 miles an hour with an injected nitro car. When Eddie Hill ran the first ever 4-second run, he went 288 miles an hour. So if you want to go back to quarter mile, that's how big a step you're going to have to take. In my opinion, you're going to have to take the blowers off of them if you want to go back to quarter mile, because those injected nitro cars average between 420 and 450 cubic inches, and they have no clutch management. And they are running speed-wise almost what Eddie Hill ran when he first cracked the fours. And if you gave Randy Meyer 500 cubic inches in clutch management, I believe he'd make 4 runs, and he'd be going 490s at 302 or 303 miles an hour in the quarter mile. So if you so desperately want those 300 feet back at the end of the racetrack, be prepared to take the blowers off Top Fuel, and that is strictly my opinion.
Wow. That came out of nowhere, though. And
286 miles an hour.
And so on that, and I talked to Aaron, and he goes, we were surprised too, right? Like they put a new Allen Johnson 4-bolt main block in the thing, and got their tune-up back, and it went real fast. But I was thinking about exactly the same thing. Like, we can't take the superchargers off. No way. It would be a different sport. Like, there's a reason. No offense to the A-Fuel guys, and I love it, and it's awesome. But when you diminish the shock of the initial hit, the fans are going to rebel immediately, much more than they did. I think the 20 people are a minority, big time minority.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, and I do not want to take the blowers off to get the extra 300 feet back. But I do think that in the last 5 or 6 years, the hit from the injected nitro cars has gotten stronger and gotten louder. The number of times, if you stand up there right now in between 2 injected nitro cars, it's not that much different from what the top fuel cars were doing, say 10 years ago or 12 years ago. They're learning, they're getting better, they're getting more efficient. And again, they're 50 cubic inches smaller than what a top fuel car is. So, I think they're making giant strides in performance, and good on them. But I just think, like I said, it's all about burning fuel, right? That's how you make horsepower, is burning fuel. Right. And the pumps that they're running on the injected nitro cars now are bigger than the pumps that Kenny Bernstein had on his car when he first went 300 miles an hour. So if they had, and if they's the injected nitro cars, all the tools that Dale Armstrong had when they made that run in 1992, injected nitro cars would be going that fast right now.
Wow. Very interesting. Lauren, with a statement that she made a little bit earlier, I want to get it on here. Major sponsor ever won in NASCAR and NHRA on the same day in the history of NHRA. Probably I can think of, with all the, the Bud cars and Miller Lite cars, but she's referencing the HendrickCars.com double up, Greg Anderson and Kyle Larson this weekend. And that we should mention that, because Greg, that was a big deal sponsorship for Greg, and he run it up a bunch of times when Kyle Larson was doing his 5 in a row or whatever earlier this year, and now they get to win on the same day. Yeah,
and boy, Kyle had a day, huh? I don't know if you saw that or not. Like, the alternator went out, changed the batteries. There was one point in the race for a long time where he was below the cut line. Like, if the flag comes out now, Kyle Larson does not advance into the next round of the playoffs. And then to fight his way back and win that thing is just like astounding.
Wow.
But, congratulations to him. There's, kid's good.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
It's pretty talented.
I will tell you, from the rumblings I've been hearing, pay attention. I do believe before the end of this week, there's going to be another big sponsor announcement or two. And I believe there's going to be another 1 or 2 coming between Bristol and Las Vegas, because, those dominoes are starting to fall right now. And
yes.
So people are looking to get the word out. And especially if you're going to make big enough changes that you have to, order stuff, right? If Joe and Allen Racing is going to sign Amazon, we just need a vinyl guy.
Yeah.
But if Joe and Allen is going to say, hey, we're going to start a new team and we're going to have Amazon, we need trucks, we need trailers, we need race cars, and you need to start buying that stuff now. You don't wait until January 1st to start ordering trucks and trailers if you think you're going to be in Pomona. So some of those dominoes are falling in place, and I do believe there's going to be a big announcement or two this week, and even another 1 or 2 next week, because we start to learn the real news instead of just the speculative news.
Yeah, and that's when we all get to mock all the drag racing is dead folks, because they will be looking a little incorrect.
But one more thing too, and I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't. Ronnie Swearingen passed away today.
Yes,
and
saw that.
He was a guy that was around the sport a lot. With some of the moments in time that he was a part of. I got to know him fairly well when he was out there on a full-time basis. We'd go have dinner from time to time, and just a good guy. And we're all going to get there at some point, but
Casey Spurlock, Vandergriff, right? He tuned for. I remember when Casey Spurlock was kind of at the top of his game, doing those 1,100-foot burnouts.
When Casey Spurlock won in his debut, he qualified number 16 at Pomona. The race rained out. They came back the next weekend, won, and C.K. Spurlock, Casey's dad was C.K. Spurlock, told Ronnie, win this race and I'll give you a Rolex. And when they won the final round, CK took his watch off and handed it to Ronnie on the starting line. It was just a classic little NHRA moment that I happen to remember because I was there.
Wow, that is spectacular. Yeah, it's sad. I was watching, looking at the Facebook feed today in between plane jumping and seeing a lot of people out there who've been around the sport a long time. Mourning, rest in peace. Just sad as the information kind of got out there. Tough stuff, but it gives us an opportunity to celebrate moments like you just shared with us. Alan, great job as usual. Go do your laundry, and I'll see you in Bristol on Friday morning, and we'll do it all again.
I'm changing light bulbs while I'm home tomorrow, so that's going to be my busy thing here.
There it is. Get all the latest, greatest light bulbs, Alan. Good for you.
Well, I'm updating. Did you see my light bulbs on my Twitter feed last week?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Well,
I missed that one. I get all the rest, but I missed that one. What's wrong with
Well,
you?
I'm changing all the lights in my shop over to LED stuff just because they're, brighter, nicer, more efficient, blah, 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 blah. So I ordered some 8-foot light bulbs, and they got here in a crescent-shaped box. And I don't think that you have to have a PhD in light bulbs to know that an 8-foot fluorescent tube should not go like this.
Yeah, but I thought you said they're LED.
Yeah, they still shouldn't go like that.
Okay. Well,
So
those
the new
LED
ones are here
lights.
now, and I'm going to change some bulbs.
All right, good. Well, you have fun. Modernize that shop, Alan. Let's get some new light. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the studio look, though.
Now it should be whiter and brighter, so hopefully that'll work out.
Cannot wait. All right, Alan, great job. Good times. See you next week.
See ya. Travel safe.
There he goes, Alan Reinhart. Thank you, Alan. I make that mistake all the time. Later, Alan. There he goes. Alan Reinhart, voice of the NHRA, joins us here. All right, comments in the comment section. Put them up there. And we'll be doing an ignition show later on tonight, maybe. But we had to get this one in, and I think this is going to re-air later on in the week, because I'm going to try to make that happen. But I do want to shout out to the sponsors, and then I'll spend a little time just answering various questions, and then go do laundry. More laundry. There's so much laundry as we, man. I was supposed to be home last night. It just didn't work out. All right. First of all, the WFO Patreons. Shout out to the Patreons. We got some new Patreons on there. I haven't welcomed them officially, but I will eventually. Patreon.com/WFO radio. They get the Monday motivation. They get the behind the scenes stuff. They are part of the WFO advisory board. Like when I'm, trying to sort out, all my issues, they're the ones I go to. Right? Like, what am I going to do with my Pontiac engine? What are we going to do with this thing? Is this car going to be a super street car? What's it going to do? They're the ones that I ask, and I let them vote. But really, they also help pay the bills here at WFO Radio. And we're trying to grow this like into a massive band of brothers, the WFO Patrons. And they're all friends with each other, and they all hang out behind the scenes, kind of like its own unique social media. And it's been amazing, like seriously heartening, some of the people who have stepped up to support WFO Radio. Check it out. Maybe if it's for you, and if it's not, that's fine. Like, that's what makes it great, is you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to. You can just keep, sucking up the show for free as often as you like. Just subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and I ask you to tell your friends, right? Because I think it's pretty good. Good enough, right? Behind the scenes? No? Okay. Total Seal Piston Rings, leader in ring seal technology. The Engine Performance Expo starts Wednesday, and it is an online seminar, like me as live host, doing live interviews, connecting to video presentations from really smart and intelligent people. Total Seal will be a part of it as well. And many other companies, like George Bryce is going to be a part of it for you motorcycle guys. Warren Johnson will be there in person with me. Roy Johnson will be there in person with me. John Kazi will be there. 9-time engine master will be there. It's fun. And it's going all day long. So you throw it on in the background at Engine Performance Expo, and Total Seal is one of the big sponsors. And it starts Wednesday. Look at that. You can sign up for free at engineperformanceexpo.com. And we've done this once. We did it at the start of the year, and it was a runaway hit. And so we're doing it again. Samtech.edu, hung out with Brian Massengill a little bit. Good to see Brian. He actually went some rounds till he got beat up. It's tough. Samtech.edu, blockhead CNC programs, motorsport EFI tuning. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. If you want a job in racing, machining, aerospace, Samtech is where to get started. And then Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com. You can drive a dragster. And then there's Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. So I love this habanero endorphin booster hot sauce that Marvin makes. And it's like one of my favorite things in the world, like food products. And I think it's probably the best thing he does, even with the great coffee. And so Marvin made me this great box, right? With some hot sauce in there, some coffee in there. And I'm racing to the airport. And because it's a liquid, I've got to check the bag. I got to check the bag. And yada, 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 hijinks ensues. I'll tell you about it on the Ignition Show. But now my hot sauce is in the hands of the air delivery services. And maybe it will arrive. Or maybe it won't. Yeah. I feel uneasy. All right, let's see what everybody has to say. Starting at the bottom. Gavin, what's up, Gavin? Do you think it would be better if nitro cars ran quicker ETs? How much quicker do you want them? Yeah, I guess. I'm never going to tell you I want them to go slower, but no, not really. I feel like we're great right now. I'm amazed at these cars. Like, really? You want them to run quicker? Like, how much quicker? You want funny 360 funny cars and 340 top fuelers? I feel like racing is great right now. Everybody has adjusted. We all know what to expect. We all know what a good run is and what a bad run is. We all know when someone jumps up there and does something great, like that final round, Captain Hagen. So me, I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing anything. I'm figuring out how to make it cheaper a little. Let's see what else. Mitchell, great job this past weekend from Texas. Thank you for keeping us informed. Thank you, Mitchell. Appreciate Mitchell. He's actually the producer on another show, and they're going to have some guests. They're going to have Lyle on. Find him on Facebook. Chuck says, lighten up on the laundry load, Joe. Febreze can be your best friend. No, man. Not after a weekend like that. That's just gross. 350s. Are we that far away? Would it surprise you if Grubnick went 359 in Pomona? No. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. He just went 63 out there. 359 in Pomona? It can happen. Great show today. Steve says, how about the rumor Hagen and Pruitt are going to a new team owned by Tony Stewart? You know the rumors, man. With these rumors, Steve. Boy, that would be pretty cool, though. If there are 29 watching now, why not 29 likes? Come on, people. But there's not. There's way more than 29. Where are you watching? Oh, I guess he's on YouTube, which I think I want everybody to switch to YouTube, by the way. WFO Radio TV. That's it. The YouTube channel. WFO Radio TV on YouTube. Do it. I've been talking to some people. They say that the YouTube feed is smoother. It's better. Takes a little longer to get up there and process after the fact. I admit that that's annoying, which is why I use the Facebook code for our website. But I don't know. I'm thinking of switching to YouTube. I'm thinking of turning it all upside down. Jones Pro Mod incident. Do you think the result is different had his chutes came out? I don't know, man. I think Jeff saw the wall, and then Jeff saw Chad Green, and the rest is history. You know, hard right, hard left. And who knows? Like, I think it all worked out perfectly because he didn't hit anything. Great weekend, great runs, great saves. All right. Now let me go back to the top. Great show. We can't ignore J.R. Todd in your comment. What did you say to him? Oh, Paul, you missed it. We talked all about this at the beginning of the show. I was going to hold it back. I was going to save it for the Ignition audio only podcast where I will tell a much more detailed version of everything because I got to get you guys to listen to the podcast and our fun show somehow. And the Patreons. Oh my God, they're going to get the real story. They're going to get like the unvarnished story. But no, man, it was really no big deal. And when I heard JR say, okay, so I heard it through the grapevine. Oh my God, JR trash talked you. Oh my gosh, like it was bad. I just watched it. It was no big deal at all. JR said, Joe said we would lose. That's for him or something like that. That grapevine, man, can make the most mild thing seem terrible. I watched it and I thought, thank you, JR. Thank you, JR, for saying my name. You're a world champion funny car racer. Nobody knows who the hell I am. Literally. And you give me a shout out for something. I motivated you because I said something stupid or inartfully is the way I'm saying it, because I had more to say. It just jumped on me. And I don't know. I thought it was fine. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It is back-to-back races, so, that's something. Joe, tell Alan to cut his grass in the backyard. He must be one of Alan's neighbors. Ron Capps, ghost riding out the roof hatch was so awesome. Yes, Capps has got some cool victory celebrations. The ghost ride was awesome. That is an image that people who don't care about racing will see and look at it. Like, wow, what is that? That's all. And then the sliding down the hood. Capps is making it a fight, guys. Dean Antonelli is no joke. We had Dean on a couple weeks ago. Him and John Medlin together, Team NASA over there at DSR. Not that Dickie Venables is a joke. Definitely not. We had Dickie on. But those are the guys that are now in the championship battle. And I fully believe Cruz and John could get up there. And John Collins has been great. And they're great and all of that. But I just think that this year is a battle between Capps and Hagen. And their teams and their crew chiefs and everything is just so well oiled, and everybody's in the right place. It's going to be incredible. Or, who knows? Force maybe gets up in there. You just don't know. 1,000-foot nitro point was best part. Good job, Alan. Letting people on show. Shut up, says Top Fuels 173, and a bunch of other words. But the one that matters is shut up. Great show today. Yeah, the jet car. Oh, the jet car. It's sad. I work so hard, guys. I know I'm just little old me, but I do try to do well, and I'm surrounded by so many talented people. I try to do well, but so many people mention the jet car pass. It's good and not good. So that's it. And then my best call is on in a bizarre aborted jet car run. That was really a total catastrophe, but we somehow turned it from a negative into a positive. That's what I'm known for. Slow motion jet car pass. Crack me up with the observation. Well done. Thank you. I have to entertain myself. Most importantly, that's a Tijuana tuck and roll when you crash, but don't crash. Good save. Yes. Okay. If that's what they call it. Fine. Thoughts on Camry Caruso Pro Stock? I like it. Watch out for Camry. We've been kicking it around. Why have no lady racers followed Erica's footsteps? Right? She is the ultimate lady racer and pro stock. And why? And yeah, a lot of lady racers want to go fast. Sure. But pro stock is about going fast, but it's about being perfect. And clearly the intensity it's not higher anywhere else. It's as high as it gets in pro stock. Pinnacle of intensity. And so Camry Caruso has won in a fuel race and runs PDRA and has a 632 car and has got a lot of experience. And her dad, Mark, is a really good guy, and Papa Joe, and they've got a good budget over there. They have been, positioning, what's Camry going to do? And they've got a nice show, and I've been on their show, and they're really good people. I like them a lot. And we get along great. And I think this is the best move that they can make with Camry's career, because Erica's the only lady in pro stock. So they bought Alex Laughlin's pro stocker, because Laughlin's on to, Top Fuel Alex. And they have secured engines from Titan Racing Engines. And all you got to do is think about it. Titan Racing Engines. What's that? That's Eric Latino's new company that he bought, and we talked about way back at the World Door Slammer Nationals. That used to be Gray Motorsports. So Camry Caruso is going to have Tanner Gray's engines that won the championship. Yeah. Camry's going to have, I wouldn't touch those new engines. Those engines. I would put in, a mule and let her get up to speed, because getting up to speed is going to take a little bit of time. Pro stock is hard. But once she's got it, she's going to have a fast car. And that is going to be a whole lot of fun. And I'm sorry to jump ahead, but the first time Camry and Erica are on track together, it's going to be a moment of pro stock history. Like, but drag racing's dead, guys. Remember all those guys. Where are they? Where are you? No, I don't want to hear from you. I'm just joking. But all the people, drag racing is dead and NHRA is dead. And oh, get ready. Get your popcorn ready. Because you're about to be, whatever. We'll talk about it next week or on the Ignition Show. Jet dry in the tank instead of jet. Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that for a long, long time. And next gen cars look great. Oh, good. Another one. The slow motion jet car pass. It was epic. Call was spot on. You should make 00S show for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Then there it is. Everybody's done. We done. Yeah, right. NHRA died back in 1875. I don't have all my programs up. I don't have my exit music up. Can you please explain? What's he talking about? What went on with the jet car? Relatively new jet car racer. Sorting it out as was written in the bio, right? Like, he was chasing his dream. He's a Mac Tools distributor. He got the jet car. He's doing it. And whatever. He was doing the, like afterburner, some smoke and afterburner. Like, okay, you guys know Jet Car Joe. I think that the Jet Car show needs to go a certain way. And what I should really do is go talk to these jet car racers and see if we can get on the same page. But who the heck am I to do that to them? They own the car. But anyway, he rolled out across the beam. He got over the starting line. And you probably know this, but those jet cars don't have reverse. And so what happens? And I was in a very difficult situation because I know that this is over. It's south. It's done. It's ruined. He's over the line. Not going to be able to take the tree. What's going to happen? And so then, in my mind, because the mic switch is on and it's off and it's on, and it's off. It's like, just go, man. Just go. Just hit it. Just go. Just go. And it got the afterburner going, except somehow, like, there was no thrust. There was a lot of fire, but there was no thrust. So it was blazing jet car flames, except the car was going 5 miles an hour. I think I don't know, maybe he staged with the rear tires. I don't know, but it was like a 35-second or a 50-second run, but with the fire out the whole time, the afterburner on, no thrust. And I don't know so much about the inner workings of a jet car to analyze what happened. But here we built up this show. You're the jet car announcer. You're building it up to everybody. It's going to be the most greatest spectacle they've ever seen in their lives. A jet car spectacle from the likes of which we have never seen. Oh, Andrew. And it's true. So I decided to just go with it. And I got to say, I have not been patted on the back more, which is also sad. It's sad because I try so hard at all the other stuff, but it just takes a unique moment. And that's what this was. The likes of which we have never seen. And we haven't, because it was a jet car run in slow motion. Top speed, 35 miles per hour. I don't know if we could do it again if we tried. And certainly the Jeff Jones flat spin, you couldn't plan to do that either. Jet car, you could feel the heat. We saw it Saturday night. Yeah. All right, guys. That's all I got. I'm out of material. We're going to try to get together for the Ignition Show with the Patreons, because they pay. If not, oh, man. But yeah, like I said, I'm out of material. If you're watching this later on in the week, it's because I programmed it to play again. I'll be at the Engine Performance Expo in Johnson City, Tennessee. You can go to engineperformanceexpo.com. I'll be up there, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then head to the track on Friday. If you're coming out to Bristol, baby, Little Thunder Valley in October, that's going to be interesting. I think they're going to go fast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Come out to the track, because then we're heading west. This is the last east of the Mississippi race of the year. How about that for a fact? 3 to go. 3 races to go, and then we are done. D-U-N. Done. 2021 in the books. It's a little sad. It's a little sad if you think about it. So coming out to Bristol, spend a little time at Thunder Valley. Let's pack that house. And hey, to the Texas Motorplex, who got very experimental and creative and threw a lot of stuff at the wall. I really appreciated the Stampede of Speed. Like a week long, a lot of hard work, a lot of intense effort, the safety safari. People worked themselves into the ground, but they did it for drag racing and the fans, and that was awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Friday. Thunder Valley.